Hello, 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 everyone. All right, we are back playing IL-2 with the formidable P-51 Mustang. As I said in my tweet before going live, we played around with the P-47 yesterday. It proved to be a bit too much for me to handle without having done further research on it. Oh, I'm getting distracted because my flight pedal is a little loose. I'll fix that in a minute, though. But let me finish my intro. So it has the P-47 has a turbo supercharger with separate control for that, which also impacts your engine output. I need to do a bit more research into how much I need to play with that when flying and how to optimize the use of it to get best engine power, because we spent a lot of the time in P-47 feeling really slow, lacking engine power, even in a clean aircraft configuration, which I don't think should be the case because the thing has got quite a honking engine on it. So today we're going to go back to the P-51. We're going to try to do hopefully a little bit more ground attack, but it'll depend on how many missions we get. The first mission I generated, I was trying to generate missions until we got a really good ground attack mission, but then I saw this mission that we've got with pretty clear clouds, very light wind, so it should be a beautiful mission to fly in. So I think we're going to start with that, warm up with it. I'll try to keep some of these missions maybe a little shorter depending on the situation. And give me just a minute to tighten down this screw on my flight pedals. I'm gonna switch to a be right back screen. All right, that I'm back. That's taken care of. Let's pop right into our mission then. We go to missions, campaign generator. We should have a new intercept mission here. We'll start that. I hope everybody is having a good Sunday night or afternoon. This here it's only about 2 p.m. All right, so here's our intercept path. It's actually quite different from usual. We're not flying quite as far out because previously we were flying out to around here. So we are also flying up pretty high. We're at 4,600 meters. So that is going to be about 14,000 feet-ish. We've got an interesting climb pattern here. All right, we'll check our aircraft setup. I'm going to tick off the gyro gun sight so I have that extra side slip indicator. I might regret that. Take all of this. We are going to take a little bit more fuel. We're going to take like 61% fuel. Keep the convergence at 250 meters, all good. And we will start.
for takeoff.
Taking off.
Center my head tracking, lights on, check engine RPM and the mixture control. Pitch trim, let's get that adjusted. We do have a runway in front of us, right? Yep. Start throttling up with our brakes on, and then we'll release those in a second. Get our tail up off the ground. We're at our takeoff speed, so now we rotate and pull up, landing gear up. Hi Mai, welcome to the stream, thanks for stopping by. Yeah, if you have any questions about the flight sim, please don't hesitate to ask. There is a lot going on in this game. Alright, so let me get my engine into continuous mode, so I gotta drop the prop RPM down to about 85%, and then we're good. I'll get my aircraft trimmed for a climb. But for reference, I have on stream some dials here down below. Those reflect what is actually on my aircraft. So the most important ones are the airspeed, which is top left, that's in miles per hour, and then there is below that a side slip indicator, which lets you know if I'm flying coordinated, and if I say make a really hard turn and that ball isn't in the center, I'm side slipping and it can cause me to enter a spin, and that's no fun, so I got to keep that centered pretty much at all times while flying. Do I have any... are my wingmen on me? Let's check. They are catching up. I should slow down a bit so that they can catch up. So we are flying the P-51 Mustang. It is a beautiful World War II aircraft. It is the US's like pinnacle, famous fighter. It is the aircraft that the Ford Mustang is named after. Oh, I need to make a left-hand turn. So we're gonna bank and we're gonna turn. So it has pretty good performance. We are in a D variant, which has this beautiful bubble canopy, which lets us see all around us, which is very helpful for me as a relatively new person to flight sims, because I need to work on my situational awareness. In our current settings, enemies don't have markers that appear, so we're going to have to look for everything manually. Our squadron mates are all flying P-51B, as in Bravo. So they've got a different type of canopy, basically. There's some other changes, but those aren't particularly important, and I don't really know those offhand. But our aircraft is equipped with 6 50 caliber machine guns. We got 3 in each wing. And this is a combat flight sim, so we don't just fly around peacefully. We have an objective. We're going to be flying an intercept course here to try to find and intercept any enemy aircraft that are flying over our territory. And you can see the red and blue lines are the front line here. Now for running this aircraft, it's actually a pretty simple aircraft to manage. I do have some engine limitations, so the engine has a couple different flight modes that it can be in, and depending on the flight mode we might have a limited amount of time it can operate in that mode. So we've got a cruise, which is what it's in right now. It can be in this mode indefinitely, just as long as you have fuel it'll run fine. Then if I boost the engine higher, there's combat mode, which I get 15 minutes of. That more or less is like 15 minutes at a time. If you run 15 minutes, you can, I think, spend 15 or 30 minutes outside of that mode to get it back. And then there's a war emergency power mode, which you get 5 minutes of. So we're going to try, we try to avoid using those to save them for when we really do need them. Let me check my altitude here. So altitude is this little dial. It's the one to the right of the speedometer on your on the stream overlay. I can't speak. We are sitting up at about just shy of 8,000 feet. Unfortunately, this aircraft does use the English system, and I am a lot more familiar. I have a lot more hours in this game in metric system aircraft, so I'm typically used to meters. And then all of the settings I have in my HUD and such in this game, so like these markers, are all in kilometers and meters. So I have to have a little bit of a little conversion table on my keyboard so I know what's what. Alright, so we are trying to be climbing up to about 15,000 feet. And I got a little distracted, so I wasn't climbing quite right. So we are going to climb up a bit more. This is going to be the boring part of the mission because we're pretty much just flying up to get our altitude. I'm thinking I might want to switch back to flying, what was it, Eastern Front aircraft at some point, because that tends to be a bit quicker. The airfields are typically a lot closer to the front lines, and I keep rolling over. I need to actually probably just trim out my roll. Let me take a look. Maybe just a little bit of yaw trimmer. So trimming, on the aircraft there is, you have your pitch, roll, and yaw, of course, and then throttle. But you also have trim for all of those controls, which allows you to keep your aircraft flying straight if things change. So like if your center of mass changes due to using up fuel, you can make some slight adjustments so you don't have to keep holding onto the stick. So like right now, I've got my hands off the controls, the aircraft's flying pretty straight and level. We are climbing a little bit. We probably want to climb a little steeper. We're kind of rocking a little bit back and forth, left and right. Actually, we're pitching up a little bit, so let's actually leave that and try to climb up a bit. We'll check on our wingmen. They are quite a ways below us. Now the front line is the front line is kind of all around us, east and north. So we're gonna have to watch out for that. We might see some enemies before we actually get to the zone we're intending to fight in. We just gotta scan around a bit. And unfortunately, the way with the compression while I'm streaming, most of the time when I spot out an enemy, they're about 1 pixel high. So I'm really pixel hunting here. And unfortunately, with the compression that Twitch uses and the limits on bit rates, those typically don't come through for the viewers until we get quite a lot closer. It would be kind of neat if they gave us a little bit more zoom, because right now this is the max of zoom you get, and it's pretty much just to manage to make the game able to match the resolution that your eye can see. But it would be nice if we had like a binocular option so we could zoom in a bit more, and if I see something really far out, I can be like, hey, so here's this 3 bomber formation that I'm seeing. Okay, so we've got 2. Okay, so all 3 of them still with me. I gotta keep an eye on these guys, because if I lose too many pilots, we start running into trouble in our campaign. We are sitting up here at right about where we need to, so let me get my aircraft trimmed out so we fly pretty much level. What was that? Is that just a river? Let me check my map. Yep, that's just a river. There's like all sorts of canals around here that are straight. I thought this straight streak was possibly a contrail from an aircraft, but we aren't putting out contrails. We're putting out a bit of black smoke because our engine was running a little high there. We should try to avoid that, because that makes us a little easier to spot if we're running that black smoke. Check our map again. I'm still playing with a few training wheels on, so like I've got this map that tells me where I am, because otherwise I spend quite a lot of time staring at the ground going, is that this shaped object over here? Like, oh, is this river this, or like this part over here? And it can be quite challenging to try to navigate through that if you're trying to precisely navigate. It matters quite a bit less for patrol missions. Gonna bank just a little bit to the left to get us back onto our intended course. And try to keep our altitude roughly where it is. So we're hitting a little bit of turbulence, it seems. Not much, just a little bit. I don't see anything at all. There is a chance that things could be really far below us, and we'd have a little bit of trouble spotting them out if they're not silhouetting against the sky and they're just against the ground and they're a dark color. It can often be challenging. We're probably going to have a pretty peaceful fight. Okay, so there's been a weird thing going on with some of these missions where some of them show up enemy icons on the map, and some of them just don't. So I guess today we're going to get this mission with icons on the map. Starting to approach our first intercept point, and then we're gonna take a right turn. Are there any actually identifying markers? There's none here, so I'm just gonna have to fly with the map, but the other one, we're gonna turn and then be over that before we turn, so I'll know where that is pretty well. Oh, that's what I'm talking about here. A whole bunch of things just popped up. Actually, you can see them, or maybe you can't, but there is a couple black dots out there in the sky. We're gonna fly our patrol point, and then we're gonna turn towards them, assuming that these bozos don't decide to fly off and intercept them. Sometimes the AI is just dumb like that, and they decide to completely break off and engage something. We're gonna have to start getting back into checking our tail, because you never know when somebody might just pop right onto your tail without you noticing. I've had a couple close calls was it last weekend in this aircraft. I wasn't really paying that much attention, and I'm like, huh, oh, is there an enemy? And then I turn and I look, and there's something behind me, and I squint at it, and I go, oh, that's not a Mustang. And then I start getting shot at, so I need to be a bit better about that this time. And we're gonna make a right turn. Hopefully these bozos won't crash into me. They tend to respond pretty quick to these turns. Just gonna do a gentle right turn because we don't need to turn hard, and turning harder will cost us energy. And since we're pretty much likely to get into a dogfight soon, we want to retain as much energy as we can. Now we've lost sight of those guys. Let's try to reacquire them. I don't see anything. Let's make sure we're on the right course. Yes, we are. Altitude, we're up at about just keep scanning for any tiny dots that appear. Thought I saw something. Oh, I see them. There's two. They look like they are pretty big aircraft, possibly multi-engine bombers. We're gonna come in and try to drop down on them. So we're gonna throw the engine into combat mode because we always want more engine power. Oh, let's take it out of emergency mode, just in combat mode. I gotta reacquire those two aircraft. Yeah, they're definitely twin engine aircraft. You can probably start seeing them now. I'm just gonna make sure that they are hostile before I actually dive down on them. We got another aircraft in front of us, but judging by that distance, it's likely a friendly aircraft. Alright, we see the flak bursts on these guys. Let's move in. Get my joystick guns armed. Oh, this is going to be a really high lead angle shot. Oh, no, we're not going to be able to pull. Our controls are locking up a bit because we're going really fast. So we're going to have to try to gain more altitude and come back around for a different attack. Gunners will pick me apart if I do that. So I want to try to attack at higher angles and kind of from the sides. It means that you get less time to shoot at them, but hopefully you get shot at less. Or you just completely miss like me. My gunnery is not particularly great. I'm not executing these attacks very well. Oh, we got a trio of Mustangs popping in on these guys. Alright, we'll come in for pretty much just a rear attack. It's going to be a little dumb, but hopefully we'll have enough speed differential that it won't matter too much. We can open up a little early on these guys because we've got some pretty decent sized machine guns. His engine's on fire. Good. Let's go for the next guy. Nope, no way. I went low. I should have gone high. So we got a notification of kill for one of those. Nice. There are Ju-88s. A German World War II bomber. Alright, let's come in for the next guy. Yep, he's down, so we'll just leave him. See the crew bailing out there. Alright, let's get our engine back into regular mode, climb up a bit. I think we lost some altitude during that fight. We're at about 1,300 meters, or 1,300 feet. Just confirm that these aircraft operating around us are friendly, not hostile. And we'll try to acquire some more targets to engage. We've got that spec out there, which is to the west of us, so that's likely a friendly aircraft based off of how far into our airspace he is. Let's check our map. Oh, our map just told us that there are some enemies behind us. Let's take a look. I think we can see them quite a ways out. They look like more multi-engine bombers, so let's turn around and get ready to intercept those. While I'm doing this, let me check my fuel tanks. So we've got the right fuel tank at 60, left fuel tank is also at 60, so we're doing pretty good on fuel. This looks like another Ju-88. Or it might be an HE or a BF-110, I think. Engine into combat mode, and we start to intercept. Let's go. He's trying to get on the tail of one of our guys, so we're not going to let that happen.
Engaging fighter. It's close. Out.
We're just in a pure turn fight. I think we'll win this no problem. So the Mustang turns fairly well. The 110 doesn't really. We just gotta get on him. All right, line up a gunshot.
I'm wounded.
All right, he's got a tail gunner. Oh, oh. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. We're unconscious. We're gonna bail out. Oh no. Are we gonna die? We're not bailing out. F. Alright, we gotta restart that mission then. So that just highlights how deadly tail gunners can be. I forgot that I had music to play. All right, so we're gonna go with the same setup, except start.
Cleared for takeoff.
Taking off. Out.
And just our standard takeoff. The tail up. And we're well above takeoff speed, so let's rotate. Landing gear up.
2. Airborne.
Get
3.
our engine
Airborne.
RPM back
This is
down.
Airborne. Over.
Proceed with your mission. 4. Airborne.
All right, we're gonna play the fast version on this, I think. So we're gonna throttle pretty much up as much as we can, and then I'm gonna use some time acceleration to climb up and get us towards the AO. AO is area of operations. Unfortunately, we lose audio during time acceleration because otherwise it would accelerate all of the audio and that would sound absolutely horrifying to us. So we're gonna climb a bit steeper because we want to really be climbing at about, I think 165 is what they say. Takes a bit more focus to try to fly on 2x speed because you've got all the things going on and you're trying to counter like the little bits of turbulence that cause you to roll. And you have to put like very, very slight control inputs in because otherwise you are putting in your regular control inputs and it's really putting that in for 4 times as long. We quite possibly lost our wingmen, so we can throttle down a bit and hope that we find them again, or rather that they find us. We're already up at about 11,000 feet. So we can go back to probably regular time. Gonna just roll a bit and try to look behind and below me. Okay, yeah, so we've got our bozos behind us, good. So we can throttle back up. Gonna time accelerate a bit more. Will get us back to pretty much where we were, and we'll have to be a little more careful while engaging this time. I have seen some people say they have pretty good luck playing the BF-110 in multiplayer because a lot of people don't really expect the tail gunner or they don't really remember the tail gunner to be there. And as we saw, that tail gunner was actually pretty darn good at his job. I saw some contacts on the map. We're going to try to find them and intercept those guys. Oh, there they are. So let's get us vectored on. I think those are just a pair of, I was going to say fighters, but they look a little bigger than fighters to me. Let's put the engine into a little bit of combat mode, try to catch them. If you couldn't see them well, I think you still probably can't see them. There are a pair of smacks that are roughly in the center of the screen. One's a little high left and one's a little low into the right. They are both flying out of the AO, so we're gonna really try to catch up with them. You've got an altitude advantage, I think. Maybe just slightly on one of them. Man, it feels like we're barely gaining on these guys, so they must be going pretty fast since we're already up at over 250 miles per hour. Well, they're making a turn. I think you can definitely see those now on stream. Look around a bit more, see if there's anything else out here that might give us trouble. I don't see anything. Yeah, these are definitely a pair of twin-engine aircraft. Let's try to come in for a head-on pass on these guys. Nope, missed. Try to avoid this guy. I'm gonna do an Immelman. See one of them. Oh, there's the other. My strut was in the way. Try to come in on a quick. They're pretty fast. We'll open up a little early, try to just do some damage before their gunner engages us. Got damage on one of their engines. We'll come in again, try to hit the lead one. Or actually the trailing one. Got a couple hits on him, probably not enough to do really any damage. It's at this point that I start wishing I had say, cannons or something, because the bombers tend to be pretty hard to put down with just the 50 cal machine guns. I'm just shooting wildly here. He got a couple hits on us, I think, but I don't think he really did any damage. We're gonna have to just stay with these guys and try to put them down. No, we got some more allies coming in to engage. Oh, they put one of them down. He's got what looks like an engine fire. Yep, so they're gonna bail out. So now we'll engage this aircraft again. He's well outside of our optimal range in our convergence, but we can still give him some bursts. There we go, his engine's on fire. Now they're going to probably bail out. Craft in our furval, let's try to figure out what those are. Are those bombers or are they fighters? The heck is that aircraft? That doesn't look like a Mustang. Oh, whatever it is, its engine's out. Gonna use the cheat map a little bit. Okay, so we do have something flying around over here. That's a Mustang. That is a 109. Or a 190, I think. So let's move to engage. Oh no, that's a Mustang. Where the heck was that enemy aircraft? It's another Mustang. Heat radar map again. Okay, so we've got enemies over here to our left, far out. See them. Another pair of tiny specks. Let's get our engine back into regular mode. We're going to want to save that timer.
This is Viceroy, leader, proceeding to base. Over. Copy.
What the heck were those? They're enemy, but I don't know what model.
Fighter. It's close. Out. 2. Engaging fighter. To the east. Range half mile. Out. Three.
I'm having a lot of trouble keeping track of what's what in this fight,
Range half mile. Out.
as everything keeps going really far away from me. I think that is an enemy, though. Yeah, that looks like an enemy aircraft. Alright, let's try to line them up. Looks like a BF-109. Let's start pulling hard. I think we can outturn him right now. Let's keep pulling, keep pulling, keep pulling. Give him a burst. No dice. Now he knows we're here. Crap. Let's keep with him. He's diving down. He's going to be a little faster than us in this dive, so we might create some more separation. But we'll try to stay with him. Oh, he's going to turn. He's going to start turning. Let's throttle back a bit so we get better turning performance. We got a couple hits on his tail. We weren't really in a good position for a gunshot. Oh, but he's trying to give us one now. He's trying to force us to overshoot again. We are actually really close to overshooting him, so let's pull a bit of a rolling scissors. He's not going to play with us. He's going to just dive down and break away, so let's follow him. Let's check our tail real quick. Okay. One of the things that I've been having trouble with one of the many things I've been having trouble with is trying to be able to check my tail and not lose track of the bandit I'm currently fighting. There's something shooting at me. There's this bugger who's shooting at me. There's another one shooting at me. Crap. Where are my allies? It's 2-on-1 and I'm not going to win this. Well, I'm heading east. Let's see if we can't just unload and disengage. We'll drop our radiator to 0%. We're going to do a dive. We're just going to try to disengage from this fight. Actually, we want to turn a bit to the south. So this is one of the other kind of strategic or tactical aspects of dogfighting, is trying to know when to disengage, and being a little skittish is helpful. I think we've got a good bit of distance between us and the enemy, so we can put our engine back into regular mode, which it already was in, more or less. Check our tail. I don't think anybody is really following us. We're going to try to climb back up because we lost a lot of altitude during that engagement. Let's also evaluate our damage. So we got a couple holes in our wing. We got a couple in our tail, but we could still fight if we want to. No issues with our flaps, it looks like. And we're also not leaking anything, are we? Nope. That's just our exhaust. Oh, but I am dragging all of them with me. We've got a conga line here. So we're going to still try to use as much throttle as we can and just try to keep going until they leave me alone. Or until my allies do something, but I don't think the allies are going to do anything about those guys. Yeah, there they are. It's a couple twin engine aircraft. So those are the 110s, I think, again. Actually, I'm dragging us right into a worse situation, aren't I? Because there are enemy aircraft high up meeting us. We might be in a bit of a pickle. I'm going to turn, and I'm going to try to fight those 110s. Let's see if we can't issue orders. Attack near air target.
Free to engage. Out.
Where did those 110s go? There they are, right in front of me. Let's try a slice back into this guy, try to get back at him. I lost sight of... Oh, is that him? That is a something. I'm going to go high and try to loop over, lose a bit of speed, try to get ourselves in a better position on his tail. Well, we got to watch out for this other guy. So, see, this is where it's a real frickin' problem. Because I don't have any wingmen doing anything for me. So there's not a lot I can do if there's two enemies.
Engaging fighter to the northwest. Low. Range 2.5 miles. Out.
And they've definitely got the numbers advantage, so we're going to try another disengage. Alright, come on aircraft, hold out for me. I need this engine to last me back to our lines. We're going to climb a little bit, I think. Wonder how fast a 110 is compared to the Mustang on the deck. Alright, I gotta put automatic oil radiator control back on. I'm gonna have to take this engine out of emergency mode, I think. I think we are beating him. Let's do a very lazy turn to the left. So we want to head back towards our base. Oh, we got some friendly fighters pretty much in front of us. So might hold off on that and try to get some friendly aircraft in the area to help us.
Search for enemy aircraft. Free to engage. Out.
I like how all of these enemies are just aggroed on me, though. As is shown by the map.
2. Engaging fighter.
That's
to the
so dumb.
northeast. Low. Range 2.5 miles. Out. 3. Engaging fighter to the northeast. Low. Range about 2 miles. Out.
What, 3 freaking BF 110s? Jesus. Okay, looks like they might be breaking off. So bringing them over this city was a good idea since there's a lot of flak fire. I think now we can save our engine a little bit. So we are going to need this engine. And our two wingmen, they just did nothing. There's enemies here, and I told them to fight enemies, and they're just not. They're just not doing anything at all, which is beautiful. Alright, and our airfield is starting to show up on our radio compass. That's this Bendix radio thing here. When the dial is at the center, we are pointing towards our radio beacon, which should be our airfield. Now we've got the second boring stint of our mission, which is just returning to base. So I think we lost one aircraft because I'm only seeing two on the map here. I believe what when we were back flying over here, I believe I saw one of our aircraft engine dead. I'm Mew the Sleepyhead, how are you? Welcome to the stream. I am flying a P-51 Mustang. We just had a mission. We kind of were getting clobbered by a whole bunch of enemy fighters. There were 3 BF-110s on me, and my wingmen were just deciding to go on strike today. They just didn't want to fight anything. We took a couple hits, but not too bad, so we're just going to call it a day and head back to base.
Caution.
Hey,
Caution.
thank you for the follow. You gotta punch that master caution button to reset it. I am a little bit new on Twitch. I'm still small. I started about mid-January this year. I primarily play flight sims because I really kind of just stream whatever I feel like playing, and it's mostly been flight sims. I would also really love to try to get more people into flight sims, but it is a bit of an undertaking in terms of control hardware that you typically need. I don't know, maybe I'll find a bunch of VTuber friends to get into War Thunder, and I'll just have to reinstall that. So War Thunder does a pretty good job of allowing people without fancy setups to play. Alright, actually let me check my fuel again. We're at 45 and 45, so we're still good. And we don't have any fuel leaks since both are at the same. Main tank right, main tank left. I wonder why they're... I wonder if you actually have to switch this to figure out what tank you're pulling from. Oh, thank you, Mew. Alright, so we are actually getting pretty close back to base. Let's try to identify, let's take a look. So we've got a big city here, and then our base is on the other side of that. Let's try to look out for that. There it is. Actually, that was probably the easiest time I've had trying to identify our airfield. Normally, it's a little bit tougher for me. we're going to be landing on the runway that is, I don't know how to describe which runway, but we're going to be landing on the runway that's kind of pointing straight towards us. Alright, so one thing that's been throwing me in this P-51 is that sometimes I make a turn, so let's just see if I can't reproduce it. But like I'm making a turn and I gotta use a lot of left rudder in a right hand turn to stay coordinated, which is a little odd, and that keeps throwing me for a loop. And maybe I just need to trim the aircraft better, which I think is the case, because even in a left hand turn I gotta be using the same amount of, I gotta be using more left rudder. So I should get into the habit of trimming that out instead of just sitting on the pedal, because that has definitely been a problem for a lot of my gunshots. And in this mission we've only got like 1 meter per second wind, so this definitely isn't the wind, it's probably just the torque from the engine causing it, because this aircraft is pretty light compared to its engine, as opposed to some of the Russian aircraft that I'm used to playing. Alright, so I'm going to throttle down. We're going to get that warning that's telling me your landing gear isn't down while your throttle's at idle. But I need to lose a bit of speed before we get too close to this airfield. I'm going to do some lazy turns as we're approaching, just trying to bleed off a bit more speed so we can come in for a nice landing. I'm going to check my tail because it would suck to get shot down on landing. Part of me is kind of debating if maybe today I want to mix things up a little bit and try multiplayer again, because I've gotten quite a bit better at situational awareness and spotting things out since we last played. But I'm all in multiplayer, generally you have to be pretty good at doing what's usually called booming and zooming, which is you dive down on a target, you get like a half second to line up and shoot, and then you shoot, and I'm really not good at that. Alright, we can use some flaps now that we are slow enough. I think we're just going to have to actually like turn pretty hard to bleed off our speed, so I'm going to do a full turn. Let's look at the beautiful sky and the beautiful landscape while we're lazily coming in for a landing. I'm going to apply a bit more throttle. We're going to drop the rest of our flaps. Oh, I'm going to bring up the RPM so we have better throttle response if we need it on this landing. Although I'm kind of a bad pilot in that I typically don't bother with go-arounds, which ends up pretty poorly. I crash a lot of the time. We're going to use some pitch trimmer to solve the sudden drag and pitch down that we just got from landing, dropping our gear. I'm actually using a lot of pitch trimmer, but that's probably because we're coming in with a really lazy engine mode here, and we are kind of coming in a little steep. I'm going to try to line us up a bit more center. Come back. A little bit of throttle. A little bit of right pedal to bring us on. Drop the throttle just a bit so we hit the runway as early as we want. Slowly decrease the throttle. We're gonna flare. I think we're gonna bounce a little. Oh, maybe not. Oh, yeah, we bounced. It's not very good. Bouncing means we touched down a little too hard, but I always have hard landings. I'm not exactly a precise pilot yet. Use a little bit of brakes. Gotta be careful on this aircraft because it likes to nose over if you use too much brakes. We'll just pull off to the side of the runway and then we will end the mission. Alright, let's check our damage again. We only have a couple holes in the wings, and it's kind of surprising with those hole placements that we didn't take any fuel tank damage. But otherwise, it looks like a pretty good mission. I think we got, what, one aircraft shot down because we lit up one engine on a Ju-88. Yeah, so we got one heavy aircraft. I'm gonna switch to our utility. And I'm gonna bring up the utility for you guys to see. There we go. And we're gonna go to our mission. We're gonna file combat report. We're gonna continue with our claims. We claim one Ju-88. Yep, there we go. And we'll submit our report. Start a debrief. So we'll see Spitfire of some other squadron got shot down or crashed. Ju-88 was brought down by someone else. Another Spitfire Ju-88 was brought down by me. Another Spitfire of a different squadron crashed. Another one crashed. Man, that Spitfire squadron is really bad at. They're crashing all the time. BF-110 was brought down by one of our wingmen. That's good. And then a 109 was brought down by one of our P-51s as well. And then a P-38, which is what I thought when we were flying around. Matt, please work with me. When we were flying around here and trying to break off, I think what I saw flying in at us was a P-38. So that brought down a BF-110. Nice. We'll complete our debrief. And we get the notifications of victory for our pilots. Nice. I'm just going to quickly take a look at what our server options are at the moment, because I think sometimes we get some easier servers up. And if there is, I might want to play around on one of those. But nope, they're all, the hardcore servers is just what's up. And even finished virtual pilots is full, which would be really painful to try to fly on. So you're going to get mobbed by everybody who's a good pilot. So we're going to go to missions. We're going to ask for another mission. We can actually try to get a specific type of mission. Let's get an attack mission. So that would be ground attack. So we have a mission to try to search out transportation assets. Let's get our mission details updated. We've got medium clouds at 3,800 meters. And then wind is from 263, and it's 5 meters per second, so it's quite a bit stronger than it was in this last mission. So the weather's a bit less fair. Go to the map. Alright, so we're going to be quite a ways away. We're going to be flying quite far behind enemy lines as well to attack their transportation assets. We'll go to the waypoints. Waypoints, they're all pretty low. I expected that because it's a ground attack mission. Next, we'll go to pilots. Yeah, we got the same, got 4 pilots, which is what we typically do. And we've got 2 500-pound bombs is what we're bringing. I should be able to dive bomb in this fairly well. So I'm generating the mission. You can't see the little pop-up that's loading, but it's going to take a little minute because it's got to generate all of this stuff for the mission. All right, it's done. So I will get back to IL-2 screen. I'm definitely noticing that these missions are generally taking quite a bit longer than they normally do. We did fly this one pretty much twice. We did fly the last one pretty much twice, but I'm noticing they're typically about 40 to 50-minute missions, as opposed to when I was playing on the Eastern Front, they were closer to 20 to 30 minutes because everything was lower altitude, closer, and such. So here's a ground hunt mission. Let's just check the realism settings. So navigation markers for waypoints, yeah. I'm wondering, I haven't played with enhanced visibility, but I'm wondering if maybe that would make it easier for people on stream to see. But I kind of don't want to rely on a crutch that might make me suck more when I try to play multiplayer. All right, I'm going to go check the aircraft configuration. We're going to ditch the gyro gun sight as usual. I'm going to take additional 50 cal MG ammo. So this is 2 500-pound bombs that we're bringing. We're going to bring, all the rest of this usual stuff. All right. Since we are on a ground hunt, I'm going to up my convergence to about 400 meters. Convergence is where these guns are zeroed to overlap. If you knowing your convergence and having your convergence set right is important, because if you are outside of your convergence on an aircraft like this, you can be doing pretty poorly to try to hit things. Ooh, it is an early morning one.
Clear for takeoff.
Taking off. Out.
So let's get our cockpit lights on. Let's check our RPM and let's check our mixture. All right. Let's get ready to take off. Oh, pitch trimmer. Let's get that set. There we go. We'll get our tail up off the runway. And then we're right at our takeoff speed already. We'll rotate. And we are up. We just got ourselves out of the light of the aircraft that was behind us.
Airborne.
This is flight. Airborne. Over.
Proceed with your mission.
Forward. Airborne.
Oh boy, is it dark. I can barely see anything. Having to navigate for this without this map stuff would really, really suck. So they want to set about 900 meters, which is going to be around 2,000 feet. Alright, we can turn off our cockpit lights since all of our dials glow. It's going to be a very, very harrowing mission. Let's get our engine back into continuous mode, and I'm going to be really careful that I don't unknowingly start losing a ton of altitude. At least when the sun comes up, we'll get some really beautiful shots of the sky, the new sky tech this game added. Let me trim my rudder out. So we need a little bit of left rudder. Take some more screenshots, because why not? Alright, let's use a bit of time acceleration since we don't even have anything really good to look at for this. Actually, I'm going to climb up a little bit more before we do this, because we do want to be at about 2,000-ish feet. Just watching the altitude dial clock up. Alright, so yeah, we've got quite a ways to go. It's going to be a bit of a long flight. So we're estimated it's going to take 10 minutes to get there on regular time. So while we wait, chat, anybody who's here, how are you all doing today? Are you having a nice, relaxing Sunday? 'Cause today I woke up a little late and didn't want to roll out of bed as pretty usual, but I had to do some adulting. I had to go get groceries and I had to get fitted for a suit since I'm going to a wedding in a couple months. So I had to get fitted for that, and then I'm gonna have to go. They're gonna make those alterations. I'm gonna have to go back and pick it up, but I still need to get a shirt for that. So we had opted because I am what groomsman I think it was in the wedding party. So we've got all matching suits, but the groom decided that instead of renting, we're gonna buy it because the price difference is like 60 more bucks, and you get to have the thing. And all of us agreed that we'd rather just have a tailored suit than rent a suit at that price. But we also didn't get the shirts, so we're all kind of on our own to get shirts. And then the groom is also going to get us matching ties, so we don't know what he's going to get us yet. We got some fires going on out there. Wonder what those are. Oh, and we see that this time we don't get friendly markers for our allied aircraft. So this is what I was saying earlier. Some missions we get it, some missions we just don't, and I don't know what the deal is. I kind of wish it would be consistent. Yeah, there's 3 aircraft down there. All right. I don't know how the heck we're gonna find any transportation assets in this darkness. Because it is just so hard. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, it is just so hard to see anything at all on the ground. I can't even turn on my landing light because the landing light drops down from the gear bay. So I can't even use that to try to illuminate targets. Maybe I should be paying more attention to when the mission start times are. Excuse me. Okay, so we're gonna switch out of time acceleration and we're gonna start actually flying. Because we should be behind enemy territory. I don't know why these lines don't appear at certain zoom levels. It's a little odd. Oh, let's not dive. Let's try to keep our nose up. Thought I saw some flashes down there. Yeah, we're seeing some flashes. I wonder what those are. Artillery impacts or maybe artillery firing. I think that's artillery impacts. Or no, that's an artillery battery. It's like impossible to see, but I can just faintly make it out. Is that our target down there that's on fire already? Or no, that's Lobenhout. Man, these harrowing night missions. But I suppose this is better than getting lit up by every single AA gun in a like mile radius. trying to even see where the heck this town is, and I can't. This mission's gonna be impossible, man. Unless we get some more light out here in a second. If we don't, we might just have to fly around until we get enough light to actually identify targets. I think I see that city just barely now. Yeah, you can barely make out the city down there. So I gotta find transportation assets, so trucks and trains, when I can't even see a city. This is gonna be ultra pain. Alright, so I'm just scanning along all these straight lines, trying to see if there's any like darker dots on them that might indicate there is a truck or a train. It really doesn't help that I have some pretty bad glare on my screen as well, because my computer is kind of right next to a window, and then I've got a light to help keep my VTube Studio going. Is there a rail depot in this town? Okay, if there is, it would be by that bridge. I think I see that rail bridge. I see something in that field, looks like an AA gun, so we can come in and shoot at that. We might just be making our presence known, which not the best idea. Let's try to fly down, and we'll do a low pass and see if we can't find any kind of rail depot, because we're gonna have to get a little closer. 2 o'clock at 2 miles. So that would be here at 2 miles? What the hell? Where is that? Might be on that train track, but I can't see it. Alright, so I'm coming around to the town, trying to find that railway bridge and see if there's anything that looks like a big railway depot. If there is, we'll come back around and we'll drop our bombs on it before we switch to guns to try to take out smaller targets. I don't see anything that looks like a railway depot. Or even a train station for that matter. So let's try to find that train. We'll follow the train tracks. It's going to be really hard to spot something that small. And we were flying pretty slow, so I have a good amount of time to actually spot anything out. And even just the train tracks are really, really hard to just spot out. Try to not fly into the ground as I'm looking at this track.
Transport spotted. 12 o'clock. Range about 2 miles. Engage. Out.
2 miles, where the hell is that? Oh, I see.
Rejoin formation and continue with the mission. Out. Rejoin formation.
Alright, so we got what looks like a convoy of vehicles. We're going to try to dive bomb them.
Rejoin formation and continue with the mission. Out.
I'm going to throw my engine into combat mode, and we're going to climb a bit, because we want a bit of altitude before we try to do this dive bombing. And I'm going to try to come along, go in the same direction as them, so that way if my bombs fall a little short, I can still hit something. I'm going to pretty much just aim for the middle of the convoy, which I know normally you're supposed to aim for the front and back so they can't go anywhere, but I don't have enough confidence in my ground attack skills to manage that. Alright, let's line them up. And bombs away. Apply more power. We're going to break off to the right and turn so we can see if our bombs have any good effect. I don't know if we hit anything, but they were pretty much on target. Now we'll switch to guns and we'll come in for some strafing runs. Aircraft is so much lighter now. Hey tank, how are you? This is the P-51, so it's handling pretty well, and I just frickin' lost sight of what I was looking at. What the hell? Oh, they're right there, okay. I'm just blind as a bat. We are basically on an early morning mission, and we're trying to take out some enemy ground transport assets. So I've found this convoy, and we're now coming in for strafing runs. We dropped some bombs on them. I don't know if we hit anything with our bombs, but the bombs were more or less on target convoy just kind of moved. I'm so glad these guys have their headlights on, because if they didn't, I would not be able to spot them. Or if even just one had the headlights on, I probably would not have spotted this group. Alright, let's come around again. We'll do another run from the same direction. I don't think they've got any anti-air assets. I also don't know where our wingmen are at this point. I haven't seen them in quite a while. Alright, we're coming around for another attack. You can barely see their lights. Apply power, start climbing again. I think I might want to actually try to approach them from the front, because I can see their headlights a bit better from that direction. And we're going to have to be a little quick with this, because we're starting to gain more light, and as we gain more light, the anti-aircraft batteries from this nearby city are going to be able to start shooting at us. Hey, I destroyed... Oh, it's an APC that has an AA gun. Okay, that's what it is. Alright, coming in. I think we're set up a bit better this time for an attack. Apply power, turn. Should keep a spot on that target convoy. I know there's an AA gun like right there in that field, so I'm gonna have to keep that in mind as I'm doing these attacks. Now you would think if this convoy was smart, after I start shooting them, they would turn off their lights and try to scatter, because if they did that, trying to find them would be so darn hard. Oh, they're all bunched up for me. How nice of them. Give them plenty of guns. See, the sun just keeps rising as always. I'm gonna try to come in for a quicker side-on attack on these guys. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Okay, that was a little close. A bit too much target fixation there. Hi, Mr. Smia, how are you? I am winning. We have at least taken out part of this convoy, and I think while we still have some darkness, I'm gonna try to return. Because we are a fair ways behind enemy lines. So this is the front line, this is where we are. We're like 38 kilometers behind the lines, so we're gonna just try to bug out now. We have plenty of combat mode left to use. We're gonna go full combat mode, and we're gonna just try to stay a little low and fly out of here. I hope my wingmen made it out, because pretty much we got to this area and they just left. Yeah, I really do love this game. It's pretty cool. I think it's a great blend of realism and playability. So the way that is that there are flight sims like DCS, which are really cool, really realistic, but you have to, like, you have a cursor on your mouse, and if you want to do a lot of things, you have to, like, actually flip the switches by using your mouse cursor. That is a bit difficult to try to do in a lot of cases, and I don't really care too much about knowing how to start the engine on an aircraft. I'd prefer to just fly it and know how to fly and fight in it. So I think this game does a great blend of that. I also didn't realize it until I was trying to talk with some of my, or trying to teach some of my friends, but there's actually a simplified physics, which makes it a lot easier to fly. I was playing around with those friends in a quick match, and I was doing like all sorts of crazy pulls and such, and I was just not stalling out at all, which makes it a lot more forgiving if people don't really want to play with the complicated physics, but they still want to play with the really cool aircraft. And we're starting to pitch up a little bit, so let's get our nose trimmed down just a smidge. Although I wish I could make that a little less sensitive, because I've just got it bound to a hat switch, so I hit it and it jumps up like quite a few percent. Man, we're making quite a good speed. We're at about 350 miles per hour. Check where we are. Top speed. Well, my velocity never exceed is 505 miles an hour. What it can hit, I'd have to check a spreadsheet for that. I can pull that up probably after this mission, because I've got a whole spreadsheet that compares all sorts of different stats for different aircraft. And that's one of the stats that's on there, but it's different for different altitudes as well. Yeah, there are quite a few modern-ish combat flight sims. I used to play a little bit of Falcon BMS as probably the first realistic flight sim I used to play. Project Wingman, that sounds familiar, but I don't quite remember what it is. And we're just sitting here on our combat engine mode, and it's, you know, the game's warning us, hey, stop using that. We get to use it for about 15 minutes, so I think we can drop that down now. We'll drop our prop RPM down to about 85%, and let me check our fuel. 45 in the right tank, a little less in the left tank, so we're pretty good. That probably explains why we're rolling to the right a little bit. So I'm wondering if maybe if the pilots and the P-51s had to manually flip this switch down here at the center for which tank it was draining from. Because you'd think that you'd make it so it just drains from both of them at the same time. It's a little weird. I mean, obviously the fuselage tank makes a bit of sense because is a fuselage tank, and you want to drain that one first. And checking the fuselage tank's fuel is actually really hard because it's this dial that you can barely see here. You have to get your head in a very specific position to see it. But we almost always fly without that full because when that tank is full, the P-51 is not supposed to be used in any aerobatics, and dogfighting is all aerobatics. With that tank full, your center of gravity is pushed further back, which makes the aircraft really unstable. So it is genuinely dangerous to pull aerobatic maneuvers, and there are some cases where you can get spins where you cannot recover from if that tank is full, which is why it's not used. But it generally wasn't an issue historically because you wouldn't fill that tank up if you're doing a short flight, or if you're doing, like, say, a long flight, you would burn up all that fuel before you got to the objective. Yeah, the other flight sim I was playing where you had to hit all the buttons manually was Falcon BMS, which is an F-16 Falcon simulator. It's a 1-to-1 flight sim, so anything you want to do, you have to hit the buttons in the cockpit and do it. You can bind some of the buttons, so like you don't have to hit all the buttons on your HOTAS stick and all that, but you have to hit like all the other things. And so you've got a startup sequence, which is like a whole list of buttons you got to be hitting. And if you don't use time acceleration, it takes about 8 minutes, 8 to 10-ish minutes to start up the aircraft. But about eight of those minutes is waiting for the inertial navigation system to align itself on the ground. And I have seen people do scramble starts in as low as like 2 minutes. It's actually pretty impressive for a jet aircraft because they're usually pretty high maintenance, and scramble starts are not usually their thing. But from what I know of the F-16 Falcon, it is designed to be kind of like a bit of an interceptor aircraft where it's supposed to be quick to get off the ground. Yeah, it definitely gets tedious. I never really got too far in Falcon BMS because trying to learn all the weapon employment was really quite difficult. And it's like even trying to do something like trying to use the I think it is the Hellfire air-to-ground anti-tank guided missiles. You have to bore sight those things. That's a pain. I don't want to do that. I want to just hop in my aircraft and fly. I don't want to have to bore sight it. I want it to be bore sighted by my weapons equipment officer when they put it on the damn plane. That's just an extra step that I don't want to do. And so I like this because I don't have to do a lot of that extra steps. Like I do have to do a lot while flying some of these aircraft. This aircraft's not too bad because if I'm managing the engine, all I have to manage is the prop RPM and the throttle, and the engine computer does all the everything else for me. So it manages the water radiator, the oil radiator, the engine mixture, and everything else is pretty easily done for me. There are some aircraft where I have to really manage quite a lot, like the P-47 was quite a lot. So on the P-47 I was having to manage the prop RPM, the charger as well. And so I was intending to fly the P-47 today, but I didn't have time to go look up a further detailed tutorial on how to manage that turbocharger. So I'm just flying this today. There are some Russian aircraft that are a bit more complicated in engine mode, but they're also in some ways simpler, because on this aircraft I have to keep note of the different types of engine modes, but in exchange of kind of having that complication, I get rid of the complication of managing the radiators unless I decide I want to, because I can choose to do it manually, which is helpful to have that option, because I actually used that earlier in the previous mission. I closed my oil radiator all the way and just dove down, and that gives you a couple extra kilometers per hour, and that can be really useful sometimes just in trying to get away from enemies. You can't do it forever though, because otherwise you're gonna burn your oil. But like the Russian aircraft, like if I was in, say, a Yak-1, I have to manage the mixture because I don't have automatic mixture control in that, so I have to manually manage the mixture. Then I have to manage the RPM and the radiators. However, I don't have engine mode, so I can just throw the throttle all the way to full and it's completely fine. The engine will run forever. The German aircraft, the 109s, are all very similar to this in that you don't really have to manage much at all. You don't even actually have to manage propeller pitch unless you decide you want to. The engine in the 109s manages all that for you, which makes it a really good aircraft. I should fly them at some point. The 109s also have the advantage in that they are generally higher spec in pretty much every aspect compared to the Soviet aircraft, and often times better than the US aircraft. So they will typically outturn and outclimb most other aircraft that they deal with. Alright, so we are starting to actually approach our airfield. Let's try to take a look at it. So it's the same one that we've been flying, so it's going to be on the other side of the city from us. Let's try to find it. Although, trying to find a city at this time of night is pretty difficult. It gives you a big appreciation for the British night bombers. They had to have those marker planes fly in first and find cities and like drop flares so that the bombers could actually come in and drop their payloads. Okay, I'm seeing a large body of water off there, so that's this. So the okay, so the airfield is on the other side of that lake. I think I can barely see the runway right here. And I've lost it. Oh, I see it again, actually. Man, we're going to be landing with the sun in our eyes, which is going to really suck. I think last weekend I did another mission similar to the time of day as this, but that one wasn't too bad since we were doing a fairly high altitude patrol, so we got a lot more sunlight in that. You just couldn't see things on the ground, but you could see enemy aircraft pretty well. Okay, just seeing the runway pretty well. We gotta come back quite a bit on our speed. We're gonna get this alarm, which just tells us that our throttle is at idle and our landing gear isn't down. We're below 270, so we can get flaps 10. Oh, hey, our bozos are back. Let's tell them flight leader orders. F7, which is return to base. Thank God I don't have anything bound to F7 for live 2D. Okay, we can do another set of flaps. And think we can go flaps full now. We're going to start pitching down, so let's fix that. Drop our landing gear, and we can turn on our landing lights.
This is 3, requesting landing approach. Over.
Landing lights are on. Let's get our pitch trim set up, get our RPM up so that we can have better throttle control on landing. I'm still having trouble seeing exactly where this runway is. Gonna apply a little bit of throttle as we're coming in because we are slowing down more than I was expecting. Oh, now we're good, so let's throttle back just a bit. And we got a green light on our landing gear, so it should be down and locked. We have our pitch trimmer pretty much at max, which is odd that this aircraft, we're probably supposed to be coming in with more engine power than I have been doing, which is why the pitch trimmer's been an issue on landing. We're actually coming in too low. Let's flare. It is really quite hard to land at night with this setup out on dark airfields. Oh, we're gonna hit and bounce. Ooh, bit of a rough landing. But we stuck it. Bring our flaps up. Open the canopy. And then we're gonna get ourselves off this runway. Alright, so that was another pretty good successful mission. Nothing much really happened. We dropped our bombs. We'll see at the end of the screen what we hit. Let's take us a cool photo before we finish the mission. There we go. So we got one AAA gun and one transport for all that strafing we did. We're gonna go back to our mission generator. I'll bring that up on stream. There we go. Mission, combat report. Continue with claims. So we claimed actually 0 air-to-air claims because we don't do air-to-air claims in this utility. Start debrief. So one of our guys took out a half track here, and then another half track, and then I took out a half track and a truck. All right, so we'll complete that debrief. So we destroyed 4 vehicles for all of that effort. That is kind of how it goes, because if you look at historic World War II kill claims and whatnot, it's especially on on everything. Air kill claims are heavily inflated. Oftentimes, there's going to be more like tank kill claims than there were tanks in the area. I've been awarded the Distinguished Service Cross. How nice. Somebody got a promotion. All right. We're going to go to activity. I forgot to do this before, so we're going to take 10 days of leave. I normally do 5 days of leave and credit 5 missions for every mission. That way our air-to-air kills hopefully don't get to be way too absurd. All right, finished. So we took our leave. It's now, further in. We'll request another mission. So we have just an airspace patrol, it looks like. Was to clear some high altitude clouds. Let's see where they're having us do. So this one looks like it's going to be pretty short because we're a bit closer. Go to waypoints. Yeah, so we're going to be flying up at about 5,000 meters, which is pretty high. So I'm going to pull in, actually I don't want that guy. Let's pull in some of the more rookie guys and then pull in a little bit more of a veteran guy. You do not get fancy aircraft. You get a B variant. I'm going to take a D variant. The B variant is the not bubble canopy variant, and it doesn't have, or it's from a different expansion that I don't have, at least not yet. Is I typically buy these expansions when they're on sale, and the Battle of Normandy one isn't even like fully out yet, so I haven't bought it. So the B variant, which is the Razorback, no bubble canopy, is from Normandy expansion that I don't have. The D variant is from Battle of Bodenplatte, which I do have, so I need to keep the D variants to myself and not let the AI fly them, otherwise they'll get them all destroyed, and that's going to suck. Alright, so we've got a new mission. So this was our ground hunt, so here is our patrol. We will start this one up. Hopefully this patrol goes well. Just gonna check my phone really quick. Okay, good. We'll check our aircraft setup. Gyro gun sight, I think we're gonna also leave that off again. Standard, leave everything as it is. We can go into paint and let's see, is there any cool paint we want to do? Ooh, the British one. Thank God the paint, changing your skin doesn't change the weight of the aircraft, because if you didn't know, the P-51 is primarily bare metal to save weight, because all of this paint that you have to put on to cover the aircraft actually takes up quite a bit of weight. And since aluminum, while it does corrode, it just gets a protective skin on it, basically. It's perfectly fine to leave aluminum unpainted. And it's going to be a little shiny, but it'll dull out pretty quick. Let's see what other paint options we have. Anything really cool? It's a pretty neat skin, but why do we have a tactical code of 5 here? All right, we're just going to go with the default then. We'll just accept, and we'll start this mission up. Oh, I'm kind of dumb. I forgot to switch back over the windows. We're gonna have oh boy, it's another early. Actually, I don't want instrument lights this time. We're gonna check our RPM, check our mixture, pitch trim, and then we're gonna throttle up. And you can't actually throttle the full in the Mustang with your brakes on, otherwise it just takes a nosedive. Which there's actually a warning for that, but it's covered up by the picture I've got on the dash. At our takeoff speed, so let's pull up. Take our landing gear up.
Airborne. This is flight airborne over.
Proceed with your mission.
Turn our lights off. Alright, and let's get our engine back into continuous mode. We do a lot of the same things. It is a good dash picture. She is adorable. Oh, and we gotta stay coordinated. Let's keep that coordinated. Something else that because you mentioned you've played some more modern flight sims, and one thing that I didn't really know from playing modern flight sims is that how I also have one on my gun sight, which is why I tend to pick this gun sight instead of the better gyro gun sight, because I'm still getting used to keeping that in the center at all times with this aircraft especially. Oh, I'm in combat mode, so let me get my throttle fixed. Oh, and let me get my pitch trim fixed. Okay. But it's very important to keep that in the center at all times, because if you're like turning and you're not turning coordinated, you enter a spin instead, which is awful. Whereas if you're coordinated, you just start to stall, and if you release the stick, just let the stick go forward and give up on your turn a bit, then you're perfectly fine. So flying coordinated is quite literally a difference of life and death. And in modern aircraft, it tends to not matter nearly as much, like modern jet fighters, because jet fighters are kind of designed to just make really hard, snappy turns. And then hard, snappy turns is another thing. Like if you take this aircraft and you like roll and then you just pull the stick really hard, really quick, you're gonna just immediately enter a spin. Yeah, spins are a big pain. I had a couple friends that I was teaching this game earlier, and we were playing in BF 109 F4s, so very light aircraft with a very powerful engine, so it's got a lot of torque. They both quickly entered spins and died because they couldn't recover from it, because the 109 F4, its engine torque helps contribute to a spin in certain directions. I believe it's if you're turning left, it helps you enter an accelerated stall and an incipitable spin very quickly. Oh, we're deviating from our flight path, so let's get back on path. Yeah, the death spin was a spin was actually the death of me yesterday when I was playing in the P-47. I got into a spin that I just could not recover from, and we were at quite low altitude, so it was just a no survival option. I don't need those cockpit lights. Actually, how much fuel did I bring? I didn't check that at the start. I think we brought probably 50% of our capacity. Yeah, we're at 60 and 60. I think that's 60 gallons and 60 gallons, so we got 120 gallons. And we can see just a couple clouds down there. They're quite low. Our intended altitude is going to be about 19,000 feet. We're approaching about 10,000, so we got to go quite a bit higher. And with how quickly we're approaching the AO, I'm going to pull up a bit more steeply and climb at a sharper angle. We can reduce a bit of engine prop RPM that should help us climb. Let's trim our aircraft out so we can climb without me just yanking on the stick the whole time. Having the trim in this game is also really nice because I basically leave my joysticks with no dead zone in this, and if there's any joystick drift, I just trim it out, which is quite neat to have that. And we're gonna have to stop climbing quite as sharp as we are, as our speed's dropping. Where are our bozos? Are we able to see them on the map? Nope. This mission we can't see things on the map. Just luck of the draw. I think we can actually hear them. Yeah, they're below me. Without third person, there'd pretty much be no way for me to see where the heck they are. Alright, how high up are we? We are approaching, or we are just over 15,000 feet. Climb a little more sharply to get us up there. Now, I don't know what I would prefer to be fighting if we do fight something. Because typically we end up fighting 109s or 190s. And the 190s have really good engine performance and really good roll and turn performance. And the 109s have a little bit less performance. But I find that I can typically, the 109 or the 190s tend to end up just in dumb turning fights. That might just be the AI being brain dead. Whereas the 109s tend to be really smart with their fights, and we get a whole host of maneuvers that we're pulling. I don't have a sun shield on this reticle, do I? No, I don't see one. So we might be in pain if we end up in a fight right now. We are at a bit over 17,000 feet. I'm gonna put my RPM back up to regular, since we're not really gonna be climbing that much more. And we are gonna be completely incapable of spotting out any enemies with this position of the sun. Oh boy. So we're gonna just start scanning around, trying to find anything, any tiny little specks. don't see anything at all. Make sure we're not straying too far into enemy territory, because their AA guns might start firing on us, and we do not want to be tagged by AA. Every time I've gotten hit by AA in this aircraft, it has been a very bad day. One time I lost my entire vertical stabilizer and rudder, and this thing does not like flying without that. It is actually, did you know, extremely impossible to get out of a spin if you are missing your rudder. Ask me how I know. Yeah, that was Eli's playing in the background. I am able to get away with playing my random anime music because I haven't found copyright-free music, because I just play it in a track that doesn't go into Twitch VODs. I've heard other streamers doing that and they get away with it too. So hopefully I won't get in trouble for doing that. I would say something, but I have a feeling if I say it, I'm going to jinx myself in this mission. I thought I saw something for a second. Where is it? I swear I saw something. Yeah, I've got it pretty low. Let me know if you want me to change the volume of it. Because I'm already trying to compete with the engine noise for my brain power. Turn a little bit to the right. Yeah, man, maybe there's nobody out flying today. This might be just a peaceful, relaxing mission. Knock on wood. Or if there is anything out there, I just can't see it because of this position of the sun. We're up here at 21,000 feet. Oh yeah, I'm waiting for that. I am checking my... Oh, I'm actually not been checking my tail. I've got a clip from, I think it was last weekend when I was flying this, and there was a voice call out from one of the AI. It's like, enemy to the northeast, far, or northwest, far, or no, it was like enemy northeast, 1 kilometer. And I'm looking. I turned my aircraft and looking. And I didn't see it, and I turned around. And I'm like, yeah, enemy northeast. I don't see one. And then I'm just like, yeah, let me check my tail. And he was right on my tail. And I just go, oh shit! And I have to pull really hard into him to not die. Oh, we got some dots out there. Let's go investigate those dots. I think from where they're positioned, they're probably friendly. But they could be an enemy flight, so we gotta investigate. I'm gonna turn to the right past them so I can keep them in the left here. And I proceeded to immediately lose them. Alright. Alright, I see it. It's a spec. It's a singular spec. Experienced flight sim players be like, that spec is clearly this model aircraft. It is a BF-109 K2. And I go, how the fuck do you see that from here? This actually looks like a flight of 3 aircraft, 4 aircraft. I know that you guys are going to have a lot harder of a time spotting these than me because of compression. It's going from like 1440 to spot these things and paint them as friendly or enemy. From this profile, they could be literally anything. I love it. They look like P-47s, I think. Joke's on you, there's no birds in this game. Yeah, these all look like P-47s. And you can now see the American marker on them, yeah. So where the hell are we now? Okay, we're way out here. So we're gonna just kind of actually, I guess, fly with these guys. Yeah, for aircraft identification, I do actually have a pair of aircraft ID sheets with a bunch of different profiles of every aircraft, or at least most of the aircraft, because there's a couple that aren't on there since the devs keep updating this. So generally, the only way I can tell is I look at wing shape, and then if I can get a yeah, pretty much just wing shape or side profile. So most of the time you're not going to get that. I'm only going to get the front or rear profile of an aircraft. Well, I was pretty sure that they were friendly by the time I was that close, because the P-50 or the P-47 wing shape, the only other aircraft I mistake its wing shape with is the Spitfire, and the German aircraft don't have that kind of sloped wing that those have. So as soon as I saw them turn, I knew pretty much they weren't hostile, and I just wanted to get a bit closer to confirm what they were. Now, P-51s versus a Focke-Wulf is pretty tough for me because they have roughly square wings, but the P-51's wings are a little more boxy than the Focke-Wulf's wings are. Although most of the German aircraft tend to have more forward-mounted wings and longer tails. Yeah, IFF is actually a bit more complicated than you think. I found that out in my time playing Falcon BMS, because you don't really just get like a radar thing saying what every target is, at least not when I was playing. Maybe I just didn't learn it. But for the most part, you would get IFF. If something painted you with radar, it could identify it. Or no, IFF was a pain. IFF was a pain because you'd get a radar contact and you had to interrogate every single frickin' radar contact to see what they are. And it was really easy to use it wrong and miscategorize something as an enemy and then shoot it down, and it's actually just a friendly. IFF is a pain. Where the heck did my bozos go? I'm always losing those guys. Yeah, they are just nowhere to be found. And yeah, generally faction markings, a lot of the people that I've watched IL-2's tutorials from, they say that if you're getting close enough to see faction markings, you're not doing IFF right. I would pretty much agree, because by the time I'm close enough to really see markings on something, you have to pretty much put yourself at a big disadvantage to do that. What are these? Those look like P-47s as well. Yep, absolutely. I can see their markings even at this distance. The only marking that I usually am able to see pretty well from a distance is the yellow painted nose of 109. And I don't really use that as, oh, if it's yellow painted, it's hostile, and if it's not hostile. I only use that as, if I see something with a yellow nose, I know fairly well that it is a 109. At least when I'm playing the Russian campaigns, because you don't get any yellow nose liveries on the Russian aircraft. Alright, man, I guess we're just coming back empty-handed and alone, because there is nothing out here. I think that's the P-47 flight from earlier. They look to be in about the right position for that. Let's get our aircraft trimmed, because we're going to be flying in this direction for quite a while, so even if it's just the wind, I don't really care if I have to retrim it later. I kind of have a bit of an aversion to trimming the aircraft, and I really need to get over that and just learn to trim more often. There's those P-47s again. At least one kind of advantage that we have in the US missions in this is that there tends to be a bit more safety around your airfields. Like, I am not nearly as worried about getting shot down while trying to land as I was when playing the Russian campaigns. Alright, that is our airfield down there already, so we're going to have to really drop quite a lot of speed and altitude to land. And I know there's fancier landing methods that people have of like flying over and then doing a circle. Maybe I should start doing that, but I prefer to just line up from straight and longer, farther away. It just gives you more time to get everything set for your landing. And it wants you to land from the other direction, but I'm gonna just land from this direction because we can. And we have, what, a 5 meter per second wind, which shouldn't be too bad. Check my tail, and then... Okay, we might need to fly over and do a brake turn on this case, because we are kind of coming in with quite a lot of speed. A lot of people also do advocate for the flyover. I think it's called the initial and pitch, where you fly offset from the runway, and then while you're flying over, you scan it, because in multiplayer, it helps you see if there's anybody on the taxiway or on the runway that is not clear. So now we can see that there's nobody on the runways, nobody on the taxiways. And we're just screaming past here at about 400 miles per hour. Our controls are going to be pretty sluggish, so we definitely can't just do like a hard turn. And we are going to have to be careful to not pull way too many G's when we do our turn. Hi, Phantom Zero. Yeah, this is a mission. We did a patrol. We had a very uneventful patrol. We didn't spot anything but friendly aircraft. Hi, Mammy. Thanks for the raid.
Caution. Caution.
I don't think my raid alert went off. That's a little sad. I had a really cool alert and everything for it that I was really hoping to get to see.
Caution. Caution.
Well, thank you guys for the follows. That is Deshi and Cydric. Hi, Texas Himbo. How are you?
Caution. Caution.
Well, thank you for the follow. Mammy, how was the stream? Memimi, how was the stream? Okay, I gotta actually get this aircraft prepped for landing. Let's get our flaps down. We can go flaps down full, I think, at this point. Let's do a bit of pitch trim. Flaps are full down. Let's get our landing gear down. Landing lights on. We're gonna do a left-hand turn. Line up on the runway. I'm gonna get my engine prop RPM back up to full so we have better engine response. I'm probably not gonna be able to check chat until we get on the ground here, because checking chat during takeoff and landings has resulted in many a death of me. Okay, there's the runway. We are at about 150. We want to drop a little bit down to about 130 miles per hour, as the chat in the bottom left is telling me. Let's add a little bit more pitch trim. Throttle down just a bit more. We got to come right a bit to line up on the center line. Not that we have a center line, but just line up on the center. Gentle left turn, and we should be able to come right on. Stop using so much rudder. Actually, I need to trim a little bit to the right. It's going to be a sloppy landing. All of my landings are sloppy. I am not a pro flight sim player or anything of that nature, but I do 9 out of 10 times get the plane down without damage. Alright, so we're going to flare. Probably going to bounce. Yeah, we bounced. Oh, 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 come on. Although I honestly don't feel too bad about my landings because I normally just watch all of the really, really good, skilled flight sim players. But I saw a bunch of videos of P-51s landing in the Pacific Theater, and like all of them were bouncing and coming in for rough landings. So I don't feel too bad at all about my rough landings. Yeah, the P-51 really isn't too hard to land with. I actually had to get kind of decent at landing because I used to fly an aircraft that is the MiG-3, and it wants to kill you on takeoffs and landing. It's awful. Cydric, yes, I am using a HOTAS. I use a Cytec or a Logitech X52 Pro, and then I have a pair of MFG Crosswind pedals that I use for the rudder. I I can't imagine trying to play a flight sim without pedals at this point because the rudder, you need it so much all the time. All right, we are going to finish up this mission. There is nothing to really claim on this mission. Your friend once landed without his landing gear deployed. Yeah, I actually had was it I had another P-51 stream where the first mission I was just brain dead and I forgot to drop my landing gear. And the P-51 on the dashboard, it has that red light for if your landing gear isn't down. And it's also got an alarm, so if your throttle is at idle and your landing gear isn't down, it blares at you. But I had the throttle at idle all the way through the landing, so I didn't get that alarm, or I got that alarm really early and I didn't notice it. And I just landed, and I thought for the longest time after landing that I just had come in at too much of a down angle and struck my engine. But no, I just forgot my landing gear, and it was really a dumb mistake. All right, I'm going to bring us back to our mission utility. So this is a mission making utility that I've got. It runs a dynamic campaign to an extent, but the front lines tend to follow the historic front lines that you had. So we finished a mission, so we're going to go continue with claims, and we're going to claim we didn't kill anything, so we're not going to claim any air-to-air kills. And we're just going to submit our report, and it's going to tell us what the heck happened. So we'll start our debrief. Start the debrief, please. Nothing? Debrief completed. Yeah, nothing happened. Oh my god. Literally no enemies got shot down or shot anything down in this entire theater during this mission. Okay. Combat's in the air. Remarks on the flight and hostile aircraft. Mission was flown from this place. Narrative. Nothing. Nothing happened. Okay. Alright, so we can do another mission. I think I'm going to do just one more mission today. So we'll pick another mission. I am going to actually try to pick a specific mission. I'm going to just generate missions until they give us what we want. Because I want to do probably an interception mission. Because interception missions tend to escort mission, no thanks. Mustang's escorting Typhoons. Typhoon is a really powerful British aircraft. Mustang's escorting that seems pretty odd. Okay, maybe I need to do a mission with roll. Fighter, generate mission. Nope, okay. We'll give it one more try. Let's see what we get. Penetrate enemy airspace. Okay, this is going to be an interesting one. So we'll go to the map. Oh, this is going to be a long one too, because we have to fly instead of from here to here. We're flying all this way, so I'm going to have to use quite a bit of time acceleration to keep that time of this mission down. We go to waypoints. So we're flying up at about 3,600 meters. That's going to be, let me check my table, about 10,000-ish feet. Okay. Next, pilots. You hate typhoons. What flight sim have you played them against them with? I uh, I have very little experience playing the British aircraft in this because this is realistic enough that if you don't know the aircraft fairly well, it can be quite an ordeal to switch over to a new aircraft. Okay, we're gonna try to accept the mission. I've got it generating. It's gonna load now. You guys can't see it loading, but it's gonna take a minute or two to load. Oh, so Cydric, you also have an X-52 or an X-56. Yeah. Yeah, you did you buy it after the global beer situation? Because I heard flight sticks were really hard to come by after that. Thankfully, I got my X-52 Pro quite a while ago, and then I actually remember to. Oh, I forgot to edit my weather report. Oh well. But I'll switch back to IL-2. We'll just go into the mission. Mika US, so we've got this offensive. So we're penetrating enemy airspace over a specified transport hub. This is an odd mission. I've never seen this one before. Because normally we do like a close air patrol or something. So this must be like a bit of a fighter sweep to try to take out enemy fighters prior to an advance. Yeah, flight sticks were really hard to come by. The only thing I got fairly recently is my pedals, set of MFG crosswind pedals. Before these pedals, I got a before these pedals, I had a pair of CH Pro pedals, and those were pretty awful. They lasted like a year before their potentiometers needed to be cleaned, and I'd have to start cleaning their potentiometers about every few months to stop them from getting spiky. Oh, I've been leaving my convergence way too high, so I'm going to set my convergence to 250 meters. So anybody who has joined and hasn't seen this before, so loadouts I'm just going to, the only thing I'm taking off and switching is I'm taking out the gyro gun sight. The gyro gun sight is actually normally a really good tool because it really helps you aim at targets and hit them very well. But I don't really like it at the moment. I'm trying to get better with my general gunnery, so I don't really want to use a crutch like this right now. It also has some limitations and flaws, so it only works if you have if you're flying in the same plane of motion, which is how deflection gunnery works. You have to be in the same plane of motion as your target. So I'm just going to leave that off. It also means that we get a side slip indicator on our sight, which is very helpful to me because I can't actually see the side slip indicator on the gauges I have up on my other monitor. Then other modifications, we get 150 grade fuel. That's just something we always pretty much get. A radio loop compass, so we get that. It helps us a little bit, and a mirror. We get that. Fuel, I'm gonna pop up to 61%. We're not gonna really use any other skins, and we're just gonna accept, and we're gonna start. We're gonna load in. It's gonna take a second. Instrument lights on.
Cleared for takeoff.
I'm gonna check my RPM, check my mixture. And we do have a runway in front of us because I have had occasionally with this utility, it doesn't really spawn you facing a runway. It's just always good to check that. Hit the brakes and throttle up. And our aircraft's going to get pulled to the left on takeoff, so we got to use a bit of right pedal to keep it on the runway. Just throttle up to max combat speed. Get the tail up off the ground. This thing has quite a lot of power, so it takes off pretty quick. And we got our takeoff speed, so we're going to roll. Pull up. Pull our landing gear up. Oh, I made a mistake, and oh no, we've got 4 aircraft. Okay, I thought for a second I only had 2 aircraft in my flight. All right, and so we're gonna fly pretty much straight. Let's get the aircraft trimmed out. Let's get our engine back into regular continuous mode. So like velocity never exceed, takeoff, landing. Oh, tank! I forgot to get you that that max speed. I keep forgetting about that. And we get coolant temperature warning, but that is just a bit of an error because this aircraft automatically manages its oil and water radiators, so we don't really have to care about that. And we're gonna slowly climb up and get onto our mark. We can do some time acceleration. We're gonna lose our sound though. We have one of our bozos at least on our right and one on our left. So there's probably one back and to the right or directly behind us, it looks like. Come right a bit. So we're just flying in like 2x speed here because we have quite a lot of distance to cover before we actually get to our AO. And once we get to the Ingress mark, we're gonna switch to regular speed because we're gonna have to start scanning for targets because I don't have targets overlays on. So any enemy aircraft we have to spot with our Mark 1 eyeball. Since we're climbing, let me get our prop RPM down a little bit more because that's supposed to help with climbing. You can see the clouds. We're starting to approach the clouds. Getting a couple glitches in my head tracking, so let me just try to recenter it and hope that it will play nice. You got stuck with circle
Caution.
size?
Caution.
Oh, Natural Dreamer, thank you for the follow. All right, so we're gonna try to get above this cloud. We can't really pull up anymore because we're pretty low. Actually, we can just push it to just push the throttle a bit more and maintain our speed. But we are slowing down quite a bit. We're flying like right on top of the clouds, which is I always think looks so cool. How are you doing, Natural Dreamer? You having a good Sunday? Is everybody having a good Sunday? I'm having a pretty good Sim Sunday. We've only died once. In the first mission of the day, I actually I got on the tail of a German Bf-110. It's a twin-engine fighter. It has a tail gunner. I kind of forgot he had a tail gunner, and I got on his tail and started shooting at him, and the tail gunner shot back and knocked my pilot out. And by the time my pilot recovered, I was in a spin and could not recover. So that was not great, but we went back and redid that mission, and we beat it pretty well. Instead of getting 2 bomber kills that time, we only got 1 because somebody else came in and took out one of the other bombers we were shooting at. But as they say, in teamwork, it's always best to try to steal your friend's kills. We stopped climbing and we need to be, actually we are at about 10,000 feet already. Which if I remember correctly, that's where we want to be. Yeah, 3,000 meters, about 10,000 feet. approaching our ingress mark, so we're going to slow down and start using regular time acceleration, or 1-to-1 time. Yeah, it's kill securing, because you never know if, like if you put a few rounds into an enemy aircraft and it starts leaking something, you never know if that's an actual crippling leak or if it's going to come back later and take you out. I've actually had quite a few times where I've hit an aircraft and then they start diving and I go, oh, he's down. And then later I see an aircraft with a trail of coolant fly in behind me and take me out. So we clouds. I typically like to talk about the clouds because the devs added some new cloud tech in. I think it was about a month ago, but I really like the new clouds. They look very well. So are we trailing black smoke? Yes, we are. So let's drop our throttle a bit. Because if we're trailing black smoke, we're running pretty rich on our fuel mixture. That's eating up a lot of fuel. It also makes us pretty visible. But we're still at a little over 60 on both tanks. And we'll just start scanning. We might not encounter anything for a little bit. Actually, we're not quite going as far behind enemy lines as I thought we were. We're actually going just about as far behind lines as we were. What the hell is this mess of patrol markers? Oh my god, I didn't see that before. We are not going to follow that. We're just going to fly around for a bit and see if anybody decides to come at us. I swear I saw something down here by this cloud. But maybe I've just got too many dirt specks on my screen. Oh, no, I saw it again. Let's go investigate. You guys probably can't see it. For anybody new, I've explained this to chat a couple times today, but I just like to reiterate it that, yeah, if you can't see it, that's not just you, that's Twitch and everything. Because I'm seeing this contact and it's like maybe about 3 pixels total is what I'm looking for on these things at the distances you can start seeing them. And since I'm playing in ultra wide, it's going from 1440 to like 720 on my stream, like, just because of how everything's laid out in my overlay. And then you also get Twitch compression on top of that, so it really doesn't run well, or you really don't see anything very well. I'm seeing flak bursts, and I was checking position on our map so we know roughly where we are, so we can kind of see if those are friendly flak guns or enemy flak guns, and we're like right on the border, so I can't be sure. And we don't have friendly markers in this mission. Nope. Okay. Alright, we're gonna take a bit of combat mode, and we're gonna just try to run this guy down, identify what it is. I think this flak is actually enemy flak that's shooting at us, maybe. It's not hitting anywhere near where that aircraft is we're looking at. I'm gonna just preemptively arm my joystick guns. Okay, yeah, so we're seeing those flak bursts way down there, but I don't see anything that they're actually shooting at. Unless they're shooting at us. Oh, I think they are actually shooting at this guy. I think I see 2 propeller discs on this aircraft, so it's 2 engine, likely a bomber. It's definitely not a P-38. So the only friendly things it could be is like a B-25, B-26, or an A-20. Or well, it could be a C-47, but I don't think it's a C-47. Yeah, it looks like a German aircraft. That looks like a Ju-88. Came in at a bad angle, but we'll come back around and we'll take him out. Or at least try to take him out. We got just a couple hits on him. We have to be very careful while trying to attack a bomber because of all the gunners. We just pop up on their tail, I'll get absolutely knocked out like I did before. It's weird that there's just one of these guys. Not too low. Got a couple good hits on him. We'll just take a couple from the rear. I don't think we actually took anything out on him. Everything's leaking though. My wingmen are still on me, that's good. I kind of don't want to waste too much ammo on this guy, but I don't really want to let him go. Okay, I think I am just going to let him go because I think our main objective is a bit more important than a singular bomber. So we're just going to brake to the left here. We need to be going pretty much north to capture our path again. So we're going to head north. We're going to check our altitude. We are at about... we're at about 11,000 feet, so we're still pretty good in altitude. Let's get our engine back into continuous mode. Whenever I encounter bombers, I start wishing I was in a P-39, but then the second I encounter fighters, I am... What are these? These are not my guys, because my guys are there. They're up here to the left. Alright, we're going to just assume hostile, and we're going to go in and try to identify them with a bit of a closer pass. I'm pretty sure those are Focke-Wulfs. Alright, let's issue some flight leader orders. Control for air enemies. Where the heck did those guys go? Shit. Shit. Where are they? There they are. We go back into combat mode. I'm going to pick this guy because it looks like he's a straggler, although I don't even know if he's actually a 190. That might be one of my Mustangs. Nope, that doesn't look like a Mustang. Nobody on our tail. That is absolutely a Focke-Wulf 190. So we got to turn with him He's pulling some hard evasive maneuvers. He has got pretty good turning performance.
4, engaging fighter. Is close. Out.
Alright, so we gotta pull hard to stay with him. Thank God we got a G-suit so we can keep with him in this turn.
This is 2, proceeding to base. Over. Copy.
No good hits. We can't get a good gun solution on him. Oh shit, we're gonna hit him or overshoot him. Gonna roll over, come back, try to not spin out. Where did he go? He is right there. Focke-Wulf 190s are really hard to fight because they can create some pretty significant separation really quickly with their engine power. So I often have trouble finding them after tussling with them for a second.
4, engaging fighter to the east.
I think he's leaking.
Out.
Alright, I'm having a lot of trouble lining up a good shot. Oh, we got some good hits on him. He's now juking, so he's going to lose himself a lot of energy with this. We got to be careful to not overshoot him. Alright, he's still up, so we're going to have to close with him and get another good burst into him. Let's check our tail really quick. We look good. No dice. We need a bit more lead. We're pulling really hard in lead pursuit. Come on, go down already. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Okay. Come on, man. These things are durable. Although, like, half the time I just shoot them and they're immediately on fire. The other half the time they take tons of rounds to actually put down. Alright, I think we just did something to him because we hit him and he immediately changed attitude. Yeah, he's down. Good hit. Alright, let's head a bit to... Oh, I want to go a bit to the south and I want to rest my engine a bit and climb back up. Check our tail. Try to keep situational awareness, see if there's anything else around, because I have lost track of everything while I'm going. I see one speck over here.
Engaging fighter to the southwest. Low. Range about 2 miles. Out.
3, engaging fighter.
I think that's another Focke-Wulf. I don't want to engage him with an energy disadvantage, so I'm going to climb back up and try to get the energy advantage before engaging. Oh, we've got more aircraft up higher.
2, requesting landing approach. Over. Full speed. 2, roger.
I'm seeing, I think, 5 aircraft total. They're all specs, though. Okay, one of those 2 is hostile because we're seeing a bunch of tracers from one to the other. Let's get our engine. Try to use more engine power and climb up a bit faster. Because I suspect the person getting shot at is our ally that needs help. turn towards them.
Over.
Copy.
See some tracer fire again. Alright, so there's a lot of targets around, so we gotta keep an eye out. And I gotta figure out what the heck is what right now. This Focke-Wulf 190s look quite a bit like a... That's a Focke-Wulf, I'm pretty sure. Based off of the positioning of the wings on the fuselage, he's coming straight in at us. We're gonna... Now we're gonna pull an Immelmann. And he's got a buddy coming in at us. Actually, I think that was a P-51 that flew right past us. Alright, let's try to turn with him. We're going a little fast, so we're going to overshoot him. Let's try to bleed off a bit of speed and come back around with him. They like immediately always drop in altitude, it seems. Let's check our tail. We're good. And we'll stay with him as he's kind of just diving here. Oh, we got some hits on him. Good, good, good. Oh, and then I'm gonna immediately throw my much easier shot on him. Shit, where did he go? Where did he go? Okay, he's right here. Check our tail. Okay. I'm getting a little better about reacquiring a target after checking my tail. I think the trick is to try to wait until they're silhouetted against the sky before I check. Oh yeah, this music in particular is from the visual novel If My Heart Had Wings, which is all about glider flying, and that's why it's in my Let's Fly playlist, because it's very good music to fly to. Pull, 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 pull. We need a bit more lead with this angle off. I'm kind of wishing I had that gyro sight right now. And I'm getting distracted and not taking the easy shot right in front of me. Okay, I think he's down because he's not even reacting now. Yep, that makes two. Slow, lazy loops. Nothing about those loops was slow or lazy. Those were all like pretty high G turns. We almost blacked out on a couple of them. And we've got a G suit in this aircraft with these pilots. Alright, let's try to get back our situational awareness and also climb back up. Focke-Wulf 190A8, there we go. See anything else? I do not see anything like at all. Everything might be just a lot higher than I am. Let's check the map. Okay, actually I need to be going north. He brought us a bit south, southwest of where we were when we started. There's that AA gun that's shooting at us again. It's kind of wildly inaccurate. I am surprised that they're even Like, I'm surprised they're not even getting anywhere close to us. That or it's shooting at something else. Launch our tail, good. Oh, I'm supposed to be going north. Let's turn. One thing I really wish I had that the German aircraft all have is they have an ammo indicator for their guns, which is really nice because I've just gone through these 3 dogfights now, and I have no clue how much of my ammo I've just fired off. So if I get into the next dogfight, I might get in and then line up a gunshot, and I might start firing and immediately be out of ammo. And that's let's see if we can't issue a flight leader orders. Return to our mission. We'll see if they'll hear me. Oh, we got an aircraft up there behind us. I think that's another Focke-Wulf, so we're going to go engage. Wingtips look a little more rounded, so that might be something different. Oh, he's turning straight at us. That's a Focke-Wulf for sure. And we got another Mustang with us. Perfect. So we got 2-on-1 situation. We should be able to handle this no problem. Nothing on our tail.
This is 3, landed, over.
Alright, he tried to get on our tail of our ally, and then I think he spotted me on his tail, and he waved off. Alright, let's kind of try to stay with him. He immediately is slowing down because he's immediately going into a guns defense, or juking. Or also shortened to Guns D if you want to make all of your D's nuts jokes with that. Hey, that Ju-88 I was shooting at before just crashed. That's fun when these notifications are on. Alright, he's diving again. I think we're a little out of range, so let's try to close with him before we engage again. Oh, we are closing pretty quick. And he went down right as I was lining up that gunshot. I don't really want to follow him down that nice, or that low. Shit, where did he go? Where did he go? Ah, crap, I lost him. Alright, let's just try to climb back up, and we'll keep an eye on our... Oh. There he is. Tail's clear. He's still going after that Allied aircraft. There's no way we're going to catch him in a climb like that. Oh, but he's coming back down, so now we can catch him. Alright, come on, lead in. Ah, guns out of ammo. Okay. Shit. We're gonna just have to break off then. I don't think he feels like playing. I don't see anybody on our tail. We'll drop the engine back down to combat mode. So we had a good patrol today. I'm just gonna fly straight and not care about our path. I think now that we have disengaged, we can afford to climb up a little bit. Alright, let's get our engine back into regular mode. I think we used enough to get us far away. Let's take stock of our situation. So we've got 45 and 45, so we're good on fuel. And let's issue flight leader orders, and return to base, because I'm returning to base. Let's tell them to as well. We can do some time acceleration just to make this pass a bit faster. So we got two Focke-Wulf 190s and then a Ju-88. That's a pretty darn good mission. I think if this keeps up, I might have to start packing extra ammo for my guns. Although I still kind of wish that the AI would be a bit smarter. Maybe I can adjust that in the campaign. The AI is really good at, well, it's supposed to be really good at, or in my experience, the AI has been pretty good at, oh yeah, there's no audio right now because I've got time acceleration on, so it doesn't want to accelerate the audio and kill our ears. When we get a bit, we've got a ways to travel, so I'm going to use time acceleration so we don't have to fly for like 10 minutes without anything going on. Yeah, normally in, well, if we were in a server, distances would be quite a bit shorter, and then we wouldn't have quite as long of time where we're just not doing anything. Although we would have much longer times of just patrolling and looking for things and not seeing anything. Speckled with me getting shot down by things that I never saw. All right, so What else to talk about? I kind of want to at some point try to do a bomber campaign, but I'm not sure if that's going to go well or not. For starters, I always have a lot of trouble using the bomb sites and getting all the bomb setups done, at least for level bombing. We could just ditch that and use only dive bombing because the A-20 aircraft, a twin-engine attacker slash light bomber, that has it can mount bombs under the wings instead of in the bomb bay, which makes it able to do dive bombing. And dive bombing is actually pretty accurate. I have generally been surprised with how well I can place bombs when diving, even with very little experience in dive bombing with this game. Because I've mostly been learning how to do fighters. All right, we should be able to start seeing the airfield somewhat soon because we've got a big city. So there's one right in front of us. That's not it. But then, yeah, past the lake, there's our airfield. So we're going to start turning towards that a bit. And I like proceeded to immediately lose sight of it. I do that quite a lot. All right, we're going to go back to regular time. There we go. And we're going to throttle back. We actually didn't get the landing gear warning that time, did we? Now we got it. So that's the alarm that I managed to miss sometime. It sounds if your throttle goes to idle and you don't have your landing gear down. Push to test. Oh yeah, the days of incandescent bulbs, right? Alright, we are quite low in speed. So we're good that we're at a good speed where we can drop our flaps or our gear when we need to. We'll try to lose some altitude and come in just right on this airfield. And as usual, we're going to be coming in on the runway that's pretty much pointing straight at us. Submarine ground detectors, like a depth sounder to stop you from running a ground tank. Alright, let's get... Ooh, I got my velocity, or my speed up a bit too much. We can still do flaps 10, but we're going to have to do some wiggles. Oh, electrical grounds, okay. Hey, tank, we should play, what, Wolfpack, the World War II U-boat simulator at some point. It's pretty fun. You get a crew of 5 in up to 4 U-boats, and you're crewing the U-boat trying to sink enemy ships. And it's pretty neat because it's a fairly realistic sim. Alright, flaps are full down, landing gear is dropping. Let's get our canopy open just to help us slow down a little bit more, because we're going to be coming in a little steep. And we got the green light for our landing gear, so our landing gear is in fact down this time. Very important to know. Oh, and we got more pitch trimmer to use that I forgot to use. Alright, we'll flare. We might actually touch down short of the runway. Oops. It's a bit of a sloppy landing. Bounced a little bit, but our mechanics can fix the landing gear. It's no big deal. We're just practicing to be naval pilots. We'll get ourselves off the runway. I'll stop, make a Williamson. Fucking you, goddammit. What's a Williamson? Alright, so we finished our mission. We landed safe. Our crew chief is probably yelling at us, God damn it, you landed hard on your landing gear again, and now I have to inspect it. But what does he know about aircraft maintenance anyway? We're going to switch back to our utility again. Oh, Mia, you missed my worst landing recovery. I had a whole bunch of holes in my left wing, and I didn't even make it. I couldn't even make it back to our original airfield because the aircraft was bucking around so bad. I had to use about 50% aileron to the right to keep the aircraft flying straight, and I also couldn't use more than flaps 10 on landing because if I used more than that, it would put me into an uncontrollable roll because I had a whole bunch of holes in one of my flaps as well. And just before, when I was like 10 feet off the runway, I just stalled out and the aircraft just dives to the left. The left wing crashes into the ground, but then it recovers. And it was a pretty awful landing. But at least it was in one piece. All right, so we're going to do our combat report. We'll see what the heck happened to our bozos. We're going to claim our 3 victories because we got quite a few shoot downs. And we're just going to say A6s, or actually they were A8s. We'll submit the report. And we will start our debrief. There's a P-47D crashed. Oh god, the AI. Why are they so bad? Okay, so I was the only person that did anything in this entire patrol, apparently, because I shot down 3 things and nobody else shot down anything else. That is impressive. And we lost 1 pilot, seriously wounded. And he will be unavailable for an extended period of time, alright. There's my 3 kill claims. And we lost an aircraft, but it was a Bravo variant, so I don't care too much about that. Alright. I am gonna end the stream here, because we have been going for 3.5 hours. Next time, I'm gonna have to remember to get up and walk around, because honestly, my ass hurts. Let's see if there's anybody we want to raid. Shauna VT is another VTuber. I find her pretty funny. She is streaming Goose Goose Duck, so I'm gonna throw you guys to her. And thanks everybody again for watching. I'll get my schedule up probably tomorrow. And we'll probably be doing the usual. I stream something I don't know what on Monday, and then I stream something I don't know what on Thursday, and then more Flight Sim Sunday. But thanks again all for watching, and I will see you next stream.